I was one of the few black girls for a while growing up.
Hi, this is Nicole Glass, and welcome to Creating Your Own Reality podcast. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. This one is extremely important to me because I couldn't put a word to it at first. It's a constant journey that I'm continuously on every single week, and I am surprised at how much I have to unlearn. It genuinely shocks me, but I continue to be a student and hopefully a teacher of life, and it is something that is always within me. And this episode is called Unlearning. And I want you to think about that for a second, because I think that there are things that we all have to unlearn. We just don't know it yet. So I'm going to start with me. And then as I go through what my unlearning process is and was, I want you to also think about yourself. And if you have to take out a notebook, please take out one right now and think about all the things that you have had to unlearn in the past and all the things that you think that you might have to unlearn in the future. I want this to be an interactive session where we can walk away from this healed with each other. So, unlearning. So one of the first things that I've had to unlearn was that I do not have to be ready to step into the next phase of life. Sometimes I have to step into the next phase of life afraid. Sometimes I have to step into the next phase of life insecure. Just like this podcast that I'm doing here with you right now, I am scared out of my mind how I'm going to be perceived on the other side of this camera. But I'm still doing it anyways. When I quit my job to start my business, I was crying in the middle of the night by myself, afraid to quit my job, to quit security, to say goodbye to that income, say goodbye to that opportunity where there was growth. It just wasn't growth that was meant for me. I was fearful, but I did it anyways. And I think that the thing that I had to unlearn was life is uncomfortable. I always thought everything had to feel good. Everything had to be all right. You know what I mean? And I did it afraid. And I had to unlearn the fact that, I have to be ready before I make this next step. I have to have everything in line. I have to have everything set. Everything has to look good and organized. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I can do it afraid. I can do it unorganized. I can do it disheveled. I can do it not ready. I can step into the next phase of life. And I can trust. And I think where a lot of people pull their energy from, a lot of successful people, they tap into a source. And for some people, it's religion. For some people, it's working out. For some people, it's waking up early. They tap into this source of trust, of discipline, of unwavering love for themselves. And they're like, you know what? The universe has got my back. God has got my back. Whatever happens, I'm going to be okay. I'm not ready for this next step of life right now, but you know what? I'm going to do it scared, and I'm going to do it anyways. So that's one thing that I had to unlearn. Everything doesn't have to be ready for me to step forth in my journey, in my path, in my destiny, in what I think is for me. I can do it scared. And another thing that I had to unlearn is I grew up, in a church. And so I was taught to see the perspective, step into the other person's shoes and walk life with empathy. And I did this. And that is an incredible lesson. Do not get me wrong. But the empathy within me, allowed people in my life that continue to disrespect me, that continue to disregard me, that continue to show me what they thought about me in so many words. They didn't think I saw it, but I did. But I empathized with their own insecurities, and I was like, you know what? Maybe they'll grow out of that. And I allowed certain people to circulate around me that didn't need to be there. Because of my empathy, because I am a caregiver, because I am a giver and I'm a lover. I love so hard. And I see people, no matter what their own internal issues are, I see the goodness in everybody. And I'm starting to unlearn not the empathy, but the need to like stay in that person's life. I'm like, I'm going to respectfully bow out, and I am going to do me, and I'm going to be unapologetic about it. And I'm going to grow as much as I can grow for me and for myself and for my family. I'm 26. We're most of us listening to this right now, we're grown. I see the demographic. I look at the analytics of who watches these videos, male and female. We're grown. So continuing to cycle these patterns of relationships that are detrimental to our internal growth makes no sense. Even with family members, sometimes we got to love them from a distance. Sometimes the people that love us or think that they love us can be the most detrimental to us. And sometimes we have to love ourselves enough to like see it. And sometimes we do see it, but we excuse it. But for me, at least, it's a no for me now. For me, at least, it's I have got way too much going on, and the time that I have is starting to become more and more fickle. So I need to reserve my fickle time for the ones I love the most, and for the ones that love me the most, for the ones that I can show up at that doorstep with, some issue or some problems or whatever, and they're going to open it right up, let me in, and give me a big old hug. I need to reserve it for family and for love. And those are the types of connections and relationships that I am trying to build with the people around me. Those are the types of the connections and relationships that I'm trying to grow on, that I am trying to, foster, not just for me, but for my future kids. Like, they deserve to be in an environment of love. And if I am creating fake environments and fake, friendships and fake relationships with family members, my child is going to grow up in that environment. And so there will be a lack of love. I'm sorry, there's just some dust, but there will be a lack of love within that environment. And what am I doing if not creating an environment for me and my children? So every relationship that I have becomes of the utmost important, because I truly do believe when I do bear children, I'm going to love them more than I love myself. And so I have to do better, because sometimes I don't even do enough for myself. But now that I add in that new generation and that love that I will have for that future person, it gives me that extra push, even though they're not here right now, even though I'm still 26, even though I'm not ready. I am still going to act like they're here. I'm still going to act like this is all for them. So I can no longer have disingenuous people around me, and I had to unlearn that. Sometimes I use empathy as an excuse to keep toxic people around me. And I will say I did that a lot in high school. I did that a lot in college. I did that a lot. But the moment I was able to travel on my own and I'd become more introspective through solo traveling was the moment I started being exposed to different people from different countries with way different frequencies and way more like love for me than relationships that I had been building for years with people. And that's when I realized, I was like, okay, I have a choice in this, and I can choose to step back. So there's an unlearning in that. And there was an unlearning that I had to do within my own self. I thought I knew myself. Think about that. I thought I knew myself. I had no idea, because I never explored, I would say books or novels truly in depth with other characters that looked like me. And that was another thing I had to unlearn. I grew up in an education system that was the focal point were white writers. We didn't have writers from other how do I say? We didn't have writers from other cultures. We didn't have writers within my own culture growing up. The education system that we live in now within this country focuses solely on, like, mostly, I would say 90% male, 90% white American. And I'm not saying those writers aren't great, but we could diversify, so children can see themselves in stories. This is an extremely diverse country. So for me, I didn't see myself in books as much when I was younger. So I built a lack of interest in reading when I was younger, and it was more of a chore. It was more forced when I was younger, I would say. And then when I grew older, I would say in my 20s, which is late, that's when my enjoyment for books really came out, when I started reading about other authors and characters that looked like me. And so I had to unlearn the way that I thought about books and the way that I thought about reading. And I realized when I did that, I was like, oh, wow. So this is what reading a book that talks to your soul of someone else in the world, but they know your soul. It's as if they're writing it just for you. Like, this is what that feels like. This is what I've been missing out on. This is connection. You can find it in a book. So I never really had that introduction. I look at books, and when they speak to my soul, I see them as like glass ceiling, like, breakers. I see them as a light. I see them as a truth. I see them as books are worth more than gold. Books are worth more than diamonds. Books are worth more than money. Books are the right book will change your life. And that's all and every week I get to change my life with a different book. And that's all I'm searching for in novels, like that one lesson that speaks to me, that one lesson that makes me a better person, that one lesson that adds value to my life. That is the relationship that I have with books now. I'm like, I don't play about my reading time. I do not play, because I love myself, and I had to unlearn my relationships with books. And I had to unlearn my relationship with life. I used to really think about life as this, like, begrudgingly thing that, I have to wake up, I have to go to school, like, I have to go to work, and just, I woke up every day begrudgingly, and it was miserable. Like, I was waking up miserable. Who does that? A lot of people, believe it or not. And I consider myself a generally happy person. So if someone like me is in this funk of, like, waking up with life and being disappointed, I know a lot of people are there right now. And how I was able to get out of that has a lot to do with gratitude, has a lot to do with spirituality and connecting to a higher source, a higher power, and understanding that life loves me. The universe loves me. God loves me. This isn't happening to me. This is happening for me. The unlearning. This isn't happening to me. This is happening for me. Everything that is happening for me is a lesson so I can grow as a stronger spirit and as a stronger soul. I'm sharpening a knife every single day. Okay? And that is the knife of that is my soul. I am sharpening myself every single day. And every setback is an opportunity for a stronger comeback. And every lesson that I'm able to crush and learn and understand is something that can never faze me, not ever again. You know what I mean? I won't repeat patterns. I won't repeat cycles. Like, checked off the list, done, boom, bang, got it. You know what I mean? I told my friend this weekend, I was like, girl, I have become the biggest listener ever, because when I truly internalize when someone is trying to say something to me, because what I found was that it was easier for people outside of me to see something than it was easier for me to see it. And then if I had people around me that loved me and they saw something that was happening within my life and they were like, oh, if you just did this, this, and this, and they had my best interest at heart, it was like a spirit guiding me, you know, another spirit is guiding me to become my best self. And that is on having people in your circle that love and care about you. That is how important it is. And that is why we are going to talk about it this week, because it is so important. It is everything, man. It is everything. If you look around within your circle and you see, does this person have my best interests at heart? Can I trust this person with my child? Do I think that this person is talking about me in a positive way in other spaces? Can I trust my soul and my heart with this person? Am I safe with this person? Do I feel safe around this person? Do I feel loved around this person? You have those questions for yourself. You have those standards for yourself. And you don't open the door and you don't give people access to you unless you can answer those questions in a way that you feel comfortable and knowingly understand and consciously open the door to allow them to be in your life. And that took some unlearning for me to get stronger in that area. There's so many unlearning processes that I had to go through, but I had to humble myself. Like, I had to really be like, sis, what you know is that you know nothing, and you need to re-parent yourself. You need to reteach yourself. You need to read authors that you respect their opinion. And if you are having trouble with something, there's a book on that. You best believe there's a book on everything. And you really study the authors, really get into the messages that you need to hear so you can get better, because you can care about yourself. You can love yourself. You can prioritize yourself. It's okay to not be okay. You know what I mean? So I don't want to go too long on this episode. I already went past my little 15-minute time, but if you feel this, if you feel like, wow, you are really helping me, if you could comment in my YouTube video and let me know how much you appreciated this episode, it would mean the world to me. If you could also make sure that you are subscribed, because that is how I eventually can monetize off of these videos. I really want to reach 1,000 subscribers so YouTube can start paying me for my time, because I believe my time is valuable and I can put more effort and more time into this. And these are really one-on-one coaching sessions. Like, as I grow, I want you to grow. I want this to be a family. Like, I want all of us to reach new heights together. There's no reason why we can't. And I can't always do that one-on-one with my friendships or with my relationships with my family. So if you're listening to this, this is where I mentally am at, you guys. Come and join me. I don't know everything. So if you've learned something new, if you feel like you can add to the conversation, do it in the comments. And I would just love it if you made sure to go on my Instagram and follow all of my pages. I have Facebook, I have Anchor, I have Spotify, I have Apple. Write reviews to really support me, because we are a family. And if you have something going on that you want me to support, also let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to write a review on Apple Podcast. All right, guys. Peace out. Thank you.